some go Otta. Every individual, parents, guardians should take hygiene and health as core thing that should be addressed in each home, and the school too must not neglect our duty in making sure that the pupils are all the time in good health. The project, no doubt, has impacted positively on the school with regards to attendance of the pupils.
My name is Mrs. the head teacher of Local Govt Primary School. I want to testify to the work that the Teach for Nigeria that were posted in this school did during their tenure at this school on hand wash. There, we are so lucky that they were in our midst because the whole school, even before the COVID-19 problem, we've had our own washing and bowl and the sanitizer, whereby we teach our pupils how to wash their hands and how to prepare well to keep personal hygiene generally. So from there, we have been able to teach our parents too, so that what we did in the school can be carried over.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this event. Greetings from Washington, D.C., where I am right now. My name is Bayo Oyewole. I'm an ambassador for Teach for Nigeria and retired recently from the World Bank after a long career there. I run an independent consulting firm in Washington, D.C., where I live. This is the fourth in a series of 5 T4 World Education Week panel discussions organized by Teach for Nigeria in partnership with the T4 organization, all this week to commemorate Teachers' Day, which was on October 5. As many of you may know, in 2015, the United Nations agreed on a set of 17 targets, the Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs as we call them, that if we were to achieve by 2030, we would make great strides towards ending world poverty and promoting equitable growth. One of these 17 targets, SDG number 4, relates to quality education. Progress in achieving SDG 4 has been slow, and with only 10 years left until 2030, a lot remains to be done. Through the T4 Education Week, we're trying to strengthen efforts to achieve SDG 4 by combining and sharing our collective experience to make sure that every child has a better quality of education. T4 is doing this by selecting 100 schools across the world to showcase their unique expertise in 5 thematic areas. These thematic areas include building programs to enhance employability, entrepreneurship, and life skills, promoting the science of learning and teaching, deepening family and community engagement, focusing on well-being, and the use of technology. In Nigeria, 6 schools were nominated for their exceptional work and unique expertise, 5 of which are Teach for Nigeria partner schools in Ogun State and Kaduna State. Today's theme, focusing on wellness, seeks to create awareness around the importance of integrating well-being to the holistic development of the child. We will explore how communities and stakeholders have been successfully leveraged to create an environment where the well-being of all students is prioritized and the girl child is educated. And what exactly is well-being in education? There are 5 common elements that students and educators need to thrive in their lives. One is purpose, liking what you do each day and being motivated to achieve your goals. This relates to staff engagement and the ability of teachers to create excitement for learning and development. Social, having supportive relationships with classmates and teachers. Financial, managing economic life to reduce stress and increase security. This relates to parents' ability to put food on the table, buy school supplies, or keep their jobs, all of which affect a student's financial well-being. Community, liking where you live, feeling safe, having pride in your school and community, and having a sense of belonging. And finally, physical, having good health and enough energy to get things done daily. Students need nutritious meals, exercise, sufficient sleep, and healthy mechanisms to deal with stress. We have a high-powered panel of speakers today, and our aim is to propose specific strategies that we can share with schools in other parts of the world for replication in their own environments. Ms. Halima Odu is an educationist, teen counselor, and a passionate social worker who loves children. She's a Teach for Nigeria Fellow at this school and an advocate for girl-child education. She serves as a program director at Child Support Initiative, where she helps in designing programs to educate students and young individuals on menstrual health and sex education. Ms. Odu has a bachelor's in educational guidance and counseling and a master's in social works. Mr. Joseph John Dawa is the founder of the Youth Empowerment Network, a private organization that focuses on guiding young people towards finding purpose, hope, and direction in life. As a champion of equal education opportunity for all and a firm believer in youth empowerment, he has devoted 10 years of his life volunteering in several organizations and serving as a teacher and mentor to many young people, thus contributing to human capacity development at the grassroots level. Mr. Yusuf Shobanke is a former Teach for Nigeria Fellow with a strong passion for supporting young people. While serving as a TFN Fellow, he identified hunger, food insecurity, and poverty as major constraints to the well-being of his learners. To this end, he initiated a project titled Bring the School Farm Initiative, designed to make agriculture more attractive to students, school stakeholders, and other agro-influencers, and to serve as a source of both food supply and steady income. Yusuf is a graduate of Counselor Education from the University of Ilorin. Mrs. Jokotade Agbatiogun is a seasoned educationist and administrator. She was a classroom teacher, a part-time NCE lecturer, and currently a director of education quality assurance in the Ogun State Universal Basic Education Board in Abeokuta. Mrs. Agbatiogun holds a Bachelor of Education degree in English language from the University of Ilorin and a master's in educational management from Olabisi Onabanjo University, Agoiwoye. Now, I would like to start with Halima, Ms. Halima Odu. Halima, as an advocate for girl-child education, can you tell us what specific physical well-being challenges that girls face in the school environment, and what strategies you have used to address them in your work at the Child Support Initiative?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Halima Odu, a former Teach for Nigerian Fellow. So, to the question, one of the challenges when I got to my classroom that I faced basically was unhygienic conditions of the school environment, inadequate water in the school, and there are several other problems too, like inadequate furniture in the classroom and several other issues that were happening in the school. So myself and my partner thought about what we could do to help alleviate this situation, especially to help a lot of teen girls that were missing school because of these things that were happening to them. So one of the things that when we worked with the school management, what we did was to execute the WASH project. So WASH project was adopting the world standard WASH in the school, which WASH stands for water, sanitation, and hygiene. So we secure a grant and then we execute this project by renovating the school toilet, blocks of toilets, providing water in the school, by running and also providing water in the classroom, different classrooms, and then making sure that there were enough blocks of a classroom. Also, based on the work that I did with Child Support Initiative, we developed programs whereby we try to educate girls on how to training them on personal hygiene, menstrual hygiene, and then their sexual health. So we also have this program called the Menstrual Pad Bank, where we share pads to girls who do not have access to sanitary towels, and then we give this to them on a monthly basis to help them. And also in my classroom too, when I noticed that there was high rate of absenteeism and then lack of participation in class due to the poor hygienic condition in my classroom. So the strategy that I adopted in my class was to set a goal to focus on their well-being. So by setting this goal, I make sure that I focus not just on the physical, I also focus on their psychological well-being, because I know that a child that is suffering socially and psychologically would not be able to learn maximally in the classroom. So what I did in my class was, because of the poor hygienic condition of the classroom, so I tried to galvanize support from stakeholders in the community, and then we come together to floor the classroom, plaster it. Myself and my kids in the class, we also try to work on some artworks to use to decorate the class to make sure the classroom is well presentable and conducive to learning. Also, we also try to provide more furniture for the classroom. And then another thing that I did in the classroom was to also make sure that I work on psychological well-being of my learners by bringing out some core values that we need to work on, and then we use this we form it into a mantra that we recite every morning. So we make sure that we talk about these things and make sure that they understand these things, because it is very crucial for every one of them to understand that not just saying this thing is important, but they also need to know that they need to internalize this in order for them to be better pupils. So I think these are the strategies I've adopted that have worked for me, by executing the WASH project, and also by making sure that I make my classroom a safe haven. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Halima. That was very well done. Now, we'll leave questions towards the end. They're being collected right now. Please, if you have any questions, please send them through the Q&A session. So next, we're going to turn to Joseph John Dower. Joseph, can you tell us, please, what strategies can be used to enrich our students' educational experience beyond just academics, to give them a more holistic education?
All right, thank you very much. I think basically for us to have a holistic experience for our students, we need to go beyond just the normal classroom process, because normally the classroom process alone actually sometimes is boring. And one of the things that students should be engaged in extracurricular activities like sports, which is what we have been doing for some time now. Sport is very key, but students love to play around and then to learn through that process. So sport is very important. Once they are engaging, using a better understanding of what they are learning. Sometimes there are things that they cannot learn in class, but once they come to the field and learn, they have an understanding of the reality of that. And then again, you can carry them out maybe on an excursion like to see places, because there are visual learners, there are passive learners, there are active learners. So once we take them to those places, I think it's going to help them learn more from that. And also imbibe the culture of competition among young school learners. You know, children like to compete. So in school, once you engage competition, help them to improve on each other and also learn. Because once there's nothing to compete for, students sometimes they see it boring and this is like we are used to this already. So I think competition is very important. And then again, engage their parents. Engage their parents in whatever they are doing. Sometimes when a child goes on and they give us something, they say, my auntie said this. Of course, if the parents are engaged, the children will have a good understanding and also confidence in their parents to teach them also, because learning is not just about just the teachers in school, but also it involves parents at home and everyone that's actually involved in the learning process. And also, another one is to travel around. Traveling is from discussion. When you travel a lot, they see things, they cross culture with others, and they see so many things that can help them learn from the reality of life. Sometimes the things that are said in classroom can be learned when you travel out. So traveling is a key factor to doing that. And also, I think one of the things that also allows the student to interact with teachers. When you don't allow them to say their mind, you don't want to speak what actually bothers them about the learning environment. Sometimes they actually they are held bound to one place, and then children don't like that. But I think allowing them to express themselves, interact, to share their mind, share their opinion, and then say things that they feel can help improve themselves as individuals, can also help in helping that. And also another one is even during the classroom, I think the teacher should be more creative. Creativity in a sense that, like in our school, we actually involve children in practical things. we try to help them do what is called a coding, to design things that they can see and also be practical about it. So I think once we do that, it's going to help to ensure that the well-being journalists actually are taken care of. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So sports are very important, excursions, competition, engaging parents in the learning process, travel, self-expression, and creative teaching. Very good. Thanks. Appreciate that. So we're going to go on now to our next speaker. Our next speaker is Mr. Yusuf Shobanke. Now, Yusuf, many students in underserved communities struggle with hunger, which can affect learning outcomes. For some, the only meal they eat in a day is the one they get at school. What strategies can we apply to ensure that students in these communities receive healthy, nutritious meals at school, especially given the budget constraints that their schools face?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Shobanke Yusuf. I taught at Local Govt Primary School 3, Songo, Otta, Nigeria, and I had a class size of 23 learners. What strategy I didn't notice
Yusuf, you seem to have frozen.
nature of concern and possible. Hello, can you hear me?
If you don't mind starting again.
Everyone, my name is Yusuf Shobanke. Hello?
Yeah, okay.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you right now, but you keep going on and off.
Okay. So I was a teacher at Local Govt Primary School 3, Songo, Otta, Nigeria. So I had a class size of 23 learners. At the initial stage, I noticed many of my learners do not come to school early, while some kept skipping school. So I decided to engage them to know their nature of concern so that I can provide possible ways of solving it. During this engagement, I realized that hunger, poverty, and a whole lot of food shortage was a major problem they were facing. So I decided to start a project called Bring Back the School Farm Initiative. What the Bring Back the School Farm Initiative was supposed to sort out was helping and training learners who will be conscious of the world food shortage, how it affects them, and taking up the challenge to improve food security. With this, we will have better food supply, and they can in turn improve their income so they can also support their family through direct working with school, other school stakeholders, and communities. On the school farm because there was over the 2-acre plot of land lying fallow in the school. So we decided to start working on the school farm. We planted a whole lot of things and we engaged community and other organizations who gave us materials and training so we can achieve this. So at the end of the day, we were able to teach the learners modern agricultural practices, or they were also able to encourage knowledge organizations and services and other. I was also able to give them a pathway to success through agriculture, and also they were able to have stability in the class. We had improvements in class attendance. They kept coming to school early and they were able to stabilize and their attention was much better, up to 90%. Also, we were able to have high level of kids that were not getting probably at home or in school, had these attention deficits. So that wasn't the case any longer, and there was improved learning outcome. We were able to plant a whole lot of things in school, and some of them even went ahead and had a farm at home. So our proceed, we sold some, we kept some in the school for those who don't have food to eat. They can always have something to eat while in the school, and the remaining money realized from the proceeds went into buying materials, teaching and learning materials for them. So at the end of the day, we were able to achieve a whole lot of things. So we're not only having improvements in learning outcomes, but also other areas holistically. So that's also what we were able to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yusuf. That was quite interesting, because that seems to me like a win-win-win solution. You're able to produce food, teach modern farming methods, make money, and feed the children all at once. That's amazing. Those strategies, I think, can be shared worldwide. Now, next we'll be hearing from Mrs. Agbachogun. So I have a question for you. As a former teacher and now a policy maker at the state level, you have a multi-dimensional perspective on education. And I wonder, what is your view of the challenges our students and educators face when it comes to well-being in the school environment? And what role do you think that governments should play in addressing these challenges? If you can unmute yourself, please. Mrs. Agbachogun, can you unmute yourself?
Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Mrs. Agbachogun Jokotade, an educationist, a former teacher, now an educationist. Really great to all. When we talk about well-being, we refer to a state of being comfortable when the learners and teachers, everybody that's concerned, when they are happy and they are healthy and there's prosperity, and that makes them to live a good life. Don't forget the fact that children come from different backgrounds. They have different challenges from their different homes. So as a teacher, now an administrator, I know there are different problems encountered because children come from different backgrounds. They come from different homes. They have a lot of challenges in their lives. When they get to school, some learners, as small and as young as they are made house helps. They have the opportunity to follow up whatever they learn in school, unlike what we were enjoying before. But now they have so many house helps that the people they're living with are not really working to help them to achieve the best in school. We have cases of some parents sending their wards to public schools. They believe it is government that should do everything for them. If you ask them to buy anything, they find it difficult to do. But we have all these challenges from our learners. Some people will come to school with tattered uniforms. So some of them will come to school with not having materials at all. They believe it is government that should do all this for them. So these are some of the challenges that we face in our schools when we go out to monitor. And as the question is, the role of government to help in this. Once we identify those challenges, like not eating when coming to school, like wearing tattered clothes, like not coming to school regularly, like not doing all those things that are needed to be done to make them a social, emotional, stable children. Government has so many roles to play. Number one, it is the responsibility of the government to ensure that these learners achieve the best. Like in the case of those ones that do not eat when they come to school, federal government organized a program, we call it homegrown, where foods are prepared from the locality, where foods are purchased from the locality, and they're given to especially children from primaries 1 to 3, because we find it most times that those children from the primaries 1 to 3, they normally come to school. You see them crying, not doing everything, not reading in the classroom. But government decided to ensure that they give them food. They give them food, a meal per day. And this helps some of them. That is why you see the enrollment increasing. You see the number of children wanting to come to school regularly. Another thing the government is doing, apart from the homegrown, is that we have so many structures. Like Halima said, some structures are not provided. But the government is trying all efforts to ensure that those materials are provided. Like I said, government cannot do everything all alone. As a result, the government opened the door. That's one of the rules. Open the door for partnership. We have what we call public-private partnership, where government opened the door for people to come in and support. And one of those things that was done then is the embracement of the Teach for Nigeria, where we have about, if I'm not mistaken, I think about 200 and something of the fellows. They have been engaged, and government is supporting. They are supporting them. They can give them competent fund to support them to do whatever they want to do in the school. And that has really helped our children a lot. Not only that, apart from that, teachers are trained. They're really giving, the government is giving training to our teachers to ensure that they do well with the teachers and the learners and the community as a whole. And not only like the issue of WASH mentioned by Halima too. So many opportunities are up. These are some of the things that they do. Supporting the government to do what is needful. Supporting the government, like we have some NGOs coming up to providing textbooks for the government, for our schools, for our children, providing textbooks. Some will come up with bags. Some will come up with writing materials to support the government to achieve what government believes should be achieved, because some parents are not just ready to provide that. As a result, they are doing all the efforts to ensure that we have everything done. Work on hygiene, work on feeding, work on provision of materials and every other thing. So I think government is doing the best to ensure that our children have their well-being are being catered for. And that is why we want to have them retained in the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think all our speakers have made their presentations. And now what I'd like to do is open it up to you, the audience, to ask questions. And those questions have started coming in. One question for you, Mrs. Agbachogu. And I think you partly discussed this. A question from the audience is, does the government welcome partnership with other stakeholders? Can you share some programs that have worked in enhancing the well-being of the learners and teachers?
Yes, the government opens door for stakeholders, partnership with stakeholders. We have the SBMC, Schools-Based Management Committee. We are in that course of having that one. We have all students in the school. We have the market women and all these other groups coming together to give support to the school. Government opens the door for that. We also have some other agencies. We have Lafarge. Lafarge is really supporting us. We have Lafarge opens door. You see there are particular places where they give rooms for competition, where they provide teaching for our children. They have like, there is what we call cooking competition organized by Lafarge. They work on healthy kids, taking care of the health and food maintenance of our learners. The door is opened. We have NMPC, where they come to support. We have WAVE. There's another group, NGO called WAVE, where our teachers are trained, both virtually and visually. They came and they trained them. Government opens the door, the door so well that anybody that wants to come up, just like the TFA came up, they'll just come up and government opens the door to support them. There is the program we call Adopt a School program. We know there are challenges in schools. Government couldn't do that alone. So there is this issue of Adopt a School program. When, as an individual, as a philanthropist, you can easily come up, adopt a particular school in a particular project, and you do that, and government appreciates that. So we have the opportunities for the stakeholders to assist the government to achieve the best. So thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, much appreciated. I guess it takes a village to raise a child, as they say. Now, a question for you, Joseph. What impact has the integration of sport and classroom learning had on the learners?
Okay, thank you very much. I think one of the strategies we actually discovered is that at the point parents are concerned about their children going to school and also playing soccer at the same time as in sport generally. So one of the things that incorporating sport into school system actually help parents to have confidence in the fact that their children have a future and they have something to hold on to in the future. Two, sometimes children, we discuss at the course of our program, we found out that parents were having issues with their children because the children wanted to just play ball, sport, and then go. But when we came up, we actually started a program that actually helped to balance up that concern. Parents now believe that their children can also enjoy sport and do what they like, also go to school at the same time. And children are happy, and then also it has also helped in improving family relationship. Parents and children are actually happy because they are doing all of them are doing what they love. Performance has actually gone up in school because children doing what they love aid in improving their performance. But it has also helped in doing that. And then two, again, excitement has actually come up, which has also led to improvement in enrollment rate. Like in our school, since we actually brought in a curriculum that involve sport generally, many people started coming, having interest in what we are doing. So I think it's going to help to also help and improve the school system and learners generally.
Thank you. That's very helpful. Do we have any more questions? For Yusuf, to what extent has agriculture helped in reducing hunger for learners? Will you encourage educators and stakeholders to integrate agriculture in the class? Yusuf?
I can't get your question.
I'm sorry? Can you hear me?
Can you please?
I said, to what extent has agriculture helped in reducing hunger for farmers? Would you encourage educators and stakeholders to integrate agriculture in the classroom?
Yes, I will. In school, has proven that it has improved attendance in our school and also their intrinsic motivation. For example, many of those learners never now they have seen agric is also a way they can also follow. Also, it has to a little extent contributed to nation building because we have been able to achieve a situation where learners as
We're having trouble hearing you. Sorry, Yusuf, we can't hear you anymore. Maybe maybe I can go to Halima. And Halima, what I'd like to ask is, you talked about the importance of hygiene standards for girls and so on. What are the respective roles of teachers, parents, and policymakers in creating an environment where girls can function effectively as part of the school community? So it's not just for the teacher, but the parents, policymakers, and other stakeholders. what role should they be playing?
Thank you very much for that question. It is the job of everyone, it's a collective responsibility for all of us to work to make sure that we all focus on this general well-being of kids generally, not just girls now, but all of these kids, in order for them to be able to become the best that they can be in the society. So I think one of the things that I adopted in my school while I was teaching was engaging the stakeholders, which include the parents, the school heads, the SBMC, like Mrs. Agbati mentioned, and also the community leaders. So what we did was to come together to see how we can improve generally the hygienic conditions of the school. And also, they also supported us with the wash project that we executed in the school by making sure that they provided other things that were needed, like the land that was used and other equipment. Artisans supported us in the society. So it is the role of everybody to support to make sure that there is a good hygienic condition for all learners to learn, and also for girls to function maximally in the society.
That's great. Well, at this point, I think that we've gone around all the speakers. Do any of the speakers have anything else to add? Would anybody like to come in to add anything? Or do we have any additional questions? I see one more question for Halima. Halima, can you share an impact story of one of your children who had low morale and poor hygiene and how that changed? Halima, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I had a class size of 94 pupils, and several of my learners have different challenges, but I'll share the story of one. His name is Ezekiel. So this boy comes to class, he sleeps a lot, he comes late to school, and there are several other things. He does not participate in the classroom activities. And I just thought to think that, okay, so what could be contributing to what is going on with this boy? So I had to analyze and then see that it's actually the general condition. And I also engaged with the parents, also found out what could be causing this for this particular boy. So I got to find out that the mother had to, because the school is located in a low-income community, so the mother had to go and source for food in the morning before providing food for them in the morning before they will come to school. So that means that they will have to come to school late almost every day. And so in order for us to help with this, so I also rally around for help for this woman. So we had to set her up with a small business in order for us to be able to in order for her to be able to support her children. She had 4 kids. So we set up a business for her, and then thereby over time, the late coming of the children improved in the classroom. And also, we also in my classroom, so the home feeding program that was done, majority of these learners come to class, they do not have plates to eat, there are no spoons, there are no cups to drink water. So one of the things that I also did in my classroom was to get plates and spoons and definitely everything that they would need for their lunch in the classroom, because I noticed that when they are running around looking for these things for them to eat during lunch, this cuts into my learning time after lunch break. So when I provided these things in class and coupled with the wash project that we have executed, it means that once they are done eating, they clean up in the class and then we are back to learning in no time. So learning outcome was improved drastically, and also the rate of absenteeism in my class improved from about, I think, 40% when I started, and it dropped drastically to about less than 5% or thereabouts, if I could remember correctly. So those are the things I adopted in my class, and that is the story of Ezekiel.
That's excellent. That's a really good example. Now, if there are no other comments, what I'd like to do is perhaps identify a handful of strategies that we can share with the rest of the world. I think we've heard some very specific examples. Like, for instance, Halima talked about the WASH program. And through this program, in her school, she was able to encourage the maintenance of hygiene and to motivate girls to come to class more often. And you know, she involved stakeholders in the process. Then we heard about the farm program, where you can make money for the school, provide food for the students, and then teach agricultural methods and improve learning outcomes and increase motivation. And then, of course, we heard about a rich program of extracurricular activities, which includes travel, excursions, and so on. And it's always important to involve the parents, and through it, it improves parents' involvement in the children's education. It encourages creativity and self-expression, and also motivation, which all ends up improving learning outcomes. And then, of course, we heard about all the different government programs which had the effect of involving the community, all the stakeholders, like the private sector, like foundations and all agencies. They all got together to improve learning outcomes for the children. So I think that we've been able to sort of satisfy the requirement to come up with a few specific examples of strategies that can be replicated in other parts of the world. So right now, if there are no other questions, I think we have a video that's coming up.
Hello, my name is Vikas Pota. The reason why we're organizing this global showcase for World Education Week is we believe that schools have incredible expertise in making sure that learning outcomes improve. Given the state of the world, we want to see the expertise from this particular school being replicated in schools all over our planet so that the world becomes better for everyone. That is why I congratulate this school for what it does and hope that those listening can take away conclusions as to how they should actually approach their own improvement journeys. Thank you all for participating, and I look forward to seeing you in many of the other events this coming week. And I also want to take this opportunity to thank our sponsors for supporting this incredible work, without whom we couldn't have put together this global showcase. Thank you, and I wish you well for this event.
Fast-paced social, economic, and technology-driven change is redefining our world. And having a broad range of skills, such as creativity and problem-solving, has become far more important than being able to memorize information. To redefine how our children learn, and to empower them for the future, parents, teachers, and policymakers must stop overlooking a powerful part of the solution: learning through play. Play is the rocket fuel of child development, and there is a growing body of evidence to support that play is fundamental for children's positive growth and well-being over time. It is also an essential way to foster the skills required to thrive in today's world. The LEGO Foundation aims to build a future in which learning through play empowers children to become creative, engaged, lifelong learners. To do so, we work with a range of partners around the world to change the hearts and minds of all of those who influence children's lives through our programs, research, and advocacy, so they can all embrace the transformative power of play. Examples of what we do include making sure that caregivers, practitioners, and policymakers understand the importance of play, investigating, testing, and scaling new ways to bring play-based learning into homes and schools, using play to help millions of the world's most vulnerable children cope with adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress, or conducting research with some of the world's leading research institutions. Please visit our website and follow us on social media to learn more.
Language connects us all. It's how friendships are formed, ideas are shared, and lessons are learned. Language is how we find understanding and express love. It's how we communicate our successes, both big and small. It lays the groundwork for learning and growth. And for an increasingly diverse student population, it can be the key to achievement in school and beyond. That's why Rosetta Stone Education is dedicated to language and literacy. We offer solutions designed to support teachers and their emergent bilingual students, recognizing and celebrating the knowledge, culture, and languages they bring to our classrooms. Our products are founded on the adaptive blended learning model for individual needs, continuous progress monitoring for better learning outcomes, and culturally responsive pedagogies for more inclusive classrooms. With solutions aligned with proficiency standards, we support language learning while exploring academic subject areas, paving the way to better outcomes. Because for all of us, language is everything.
Dear T4 community, we talk a lot about teachers these days, but we rarely listen to them. Therefore, I am truly excited to join the T4 World Education Week to hear from teachers and school leaders all over the world how we can impact learning together. I am particularly looking forward to the global showcase. 100 schools sharing their expertise and best practices, I believe, will be a huge motivation for other schools around the globe. I'm equally impressed by the T4 Solutions Challenge, its finalists and their solutions to real-world issues in education. This gives me hope that we can, together, turn around education globally. The Jacobs Foundation is a proud supporter of the T4 World Education Week because we share a vision to reimagine learning and education by bringing together the brightest people who understand how children learn. Let's do this together.
Thank you very much, Sandra, for that video. Now, before we close, I see that we have one more question, and this question is directed at Mrs. Joko Tade. The question is, can the government share any future plans they have to enhance the well-being of learners and teachers, especially in this post-COVID era? You'll have to unmute yourself.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Even during COVID-19 pandemic, government was so careful enough and considered the situation, the pandemic situation of the state. Right there was what we call palliative. Government gave palliative to even learners, where food items are packaged and taken down to the learners, where other stakeholders, like I said, came in to support people. Apart from that, we have training that was given to teachers and leaders of schools. Even in the office, we were trained, government prepared and organized training for leaders, for teachers, for everyone to partake. Thereby, they are really working to ensure that that pandemic thing was clearly taken care of. And apart from that, there were provisions like the protocols given by the federal government. State government went ahead to ensure that we follow the protocols by purchasing all that is needed to ensure safety of lives and property when school resumed, and which actually took place after the post-pandemic when we resumed back to school. Government did a lot.
All right, thank you very much. Now, if there are no other questions, I'd just like to thank everyone for what has been a most engaging session. Thanks to all the panelists for the very insightful comments, and to the audience for the penetrating questions. I think we've all learned a lot today. Congrats to Teach for Nigeria for putting this all together. It's a distinct honor that you were selected and asked to play this role. This is a recognition of your achievements in the short time since your establishment. Special thanks to Sandra and the rest of the team that coordinated this. I know it hasn't been easy, especially with the technology, and your service is very much appreciated. Finally, many thanks to the teachers and students of Local Govt Primary School, Otta, Ogun State. I think you have made your mark on the world today. And to educators everywhere, we value the role you play in inspiring our children to learn. You are very much appreciated. I believe it was Don Clifton, father of strength psychology, who said, our greatest contribution is to be sure there's a teacher in every classroom who cares that every student, every day, learns and grows and feels like a human being. That is a thought that I hope will always remain foremost in the minds of our educators and policymakers. Thank you very much. Thank you.